Welcome, everybody. You're joining Protelo for the NetSuite 2025.1 release highlights, some tips as well. And I'm joined here with my colleague CJ Lemerise. We'll both be delivering the webinar today. A little bit about Protelo. I know that we have existing clients who are participating in this webinar, and we also have some potential clients that we haven't worked with that are joining us today. I wanted to let you know we have experts in every industry here at Protelo. Our goal is to help customers grow in their business processes within NetSuite. We have an awesome functional team, a technical team, and we also do and work with other third-party vendors for integrations, or we'll build a custom solution. We work with many clients on multiple levels, but in those three areas, functional, technical, and integration wise, we, like I have said, we have experts that we have worked with for years. All of our team members we've worked with for years on our Protelo team. So let's go ahead and continue. So this webinar overview, we're going to talk about Redwood, the new enhanced look to NetSuite, along with SuiteBilling, and on down the list. I won't read through everything. You can do that here, but 1 through 10, here's the overview. Let's start with talking about release readiness. So if you've been on a couple of other webinars previous to this, I've mentioned release readiness in this regard. NetSuite provides the release preview for you. So if you already have a NetSuite instance, whether or not you have a sandbox, you have an opportunity to register for release preview. You might have seen this page on this screenshot. It is on typically your homepage, and it's a portlet on your dashboard. And this is telling you that you can sign up for a release preview. And what that is, when you sign up for it, NetSuite adds this instance to your account, and it's called release preview. And it allows you to log in, and it's an exact copy of your production environment, but it's separate. So before your production environment is upgraded, you have release preview that is your actual production environment upgraded in a separate instance. It gives you an opportunity to log in, test out the new functionality that is coming, maybe vet out some projects or tasks that you have wanted to do, but you haven't had time to do, or you were maybe concerned about messing up your production environment, depending on the kind of testing you wanted to do. Release preview is there for you to take advantage to do that. Now, it's there for a limited time. Once your production instance is upgraded, then your release preview goes away. So I suggest that you take advantage of release preview when it comes around. Now, let me add this to, in this part of the slide deck here, is when you're working with release preview or working in release preview, we work with clients that are heavily customized, or they have questions about those up and coming changes that are going to be in their instance. We can help you if you need it. We can walk you through those changes, and we can walk you through vetting out any customizations that we need to validate before you get the upgrade in your production system. So reach out to myself, your existing project manager that you're working with at Protelo, or if you don't have one, reach out to me. My information's at the end of this slide, and we'll get you connected with the right person. It may be me or someone else on our team, so we'll help you out. So let's continue. On the Redwood experience, they've done a lot. So they have rolled it out, but they're continuing to enhance it. So you might have seen, and I'll show you some functionality in NetSuite. You might have seen some of this functionality already, but now in 2025.1, they're just continuing to enhance it. And I want to talk to you a little bit about enabling it, because there's a couple places to do that. And let's talk about where that is. So I'm going to slide over my NetSuite login right now. Give me a second. The transition over. All right, on my screen, what I want to do is talk about under the general preferences. That's setup, company, general preferences. And the way you would find this in your 2025.1 when it's here is I'm just going to do a Control F on this screen and type in red. And here it is down at the bottom, enable this redwood theme. That would be a company-wide change. So when you do that in this setting, everybody would be impacted by getting the redwood experience. You may already notice that this is already enabled in this system, and you'll notice some of the way that the screen is formatted and the display and the information that's presented on this screen is part of the redwood experience. There's two ways of going about this. If you are not ready or your administrator hasn't enabled redwood for you under the general preferences for everybody, then you can do it yourself. Again, you have to be in 2025.1 to do that. But over here on the set preferences page, which the way you navigate to this is under your set preferences, and then under the appearance sub tab here, I have it enabled. And then below is this color theme that I've enabled to purple, right? And you'll notice over here by my name, I have a purple icon. In your existing non-2025.1, you don't have the ability to make this purple by yourself, right? You can enable redwood, but you don't have a color theme available. In the 2025.1 release, you do now have this option. A couple things about this. Let's go back to the slide deck real quick. Is on the so what's impacted, right? These pages, if you're using analytics, email templates, safe searches, all of these, or on portlets or in like bulk processing and importing, you'll really notice where that redwood experience shows itself and shines, if you will, because when it's enabled, those screens look and feel different. I'll show you that on some fixed asset screenshots here in just a minute. But let's go back to NetSuite real quick. What I wanted to show you is if you don't know what a portlet is, I don't want to go away without showing that. So if I hit the dashboard here, this is just my home dashboard in here. And if I click on personalize, it opens up and gives me the ability to put some portlets out here on the screen. So for instance, this new release portlet is showing. I might be able to move this around. Maybe I want it down here. So if you haven't organized or customized your dashboard's made up of several portlets or portlets that you can either customize or use some of the system defaults. But when I was on my slide deck, when I'm referring to portlets, I'm just talking about those types of portlets. So let's continue. Ways to differentiate that Redwood gives you this experience to do is to change the color, which I just talked about up there in the upper right where my username and role is in the header. Also, there's a lot of benefits of doing this. Redwood gives you the experience that you can do across instances. So let's talk a little bit about, you might only have one instance and you log into that every day. We have some clients that have multiple sandboxes. Those are separate instances. They also have a development environment and they log into those. So when you hover over your name in the upper right corner, you might see, which I'll show you here, you might see in this one, I have an instance called Happy Holidays I could log into, or this NetSuite instance, or my Protelo instance. All of those can have a different theme associated with it. And the banner here at the top, that blue one, it's kind of discrete, but it is a different color per instance that you own under your company's name. So Redwood defines that for you using color schemes. And then like I had showed before, you have the ability to change what color that is, either by yourself or your administrator can enable that for everybody. If you decide that you don't want to participate in that Redwood experience and it's already enabled, you can disable it. There is a questionnaire that NetSuite that pops up for that. I just wanted to point that out because they want to gather that information to use it either for that offering or marketing strategy, so that you're aware. Now, if you are a customer that has recently implemented, you probably saw that it was already available. So it's already set as a default. The Redwood experience is set as a default on new implementing customers. If you've been on NetSuite for a while, it would be something that you will manually go do yourself. All right, we're going to move on. I talked about it in the sense of I said I was going to show some screens that differentiate it. What I really want to talk about on this slide is where you will see it. If you have fixed assets, you'll see it on some of the screens, how it is different when you enable it. Benchmarks 360, some of those screens are really enhanced by the Redwood experience. And then SCM Mobile now has the ability to take and the opportunity to take advantage of that Redwood experience. And here are the screenshots that I wanted to show you for because that system, that instance that I'm in, I don't have fixed assets in it, but this is taken from one of another instance that I do have. On the left-hand side is that's Redwood enabled. You can see clearly there is the definition of Redwood. On the right-hand side, it's just without Redwood. And if you're in fixed asset management, you've probably seen this all the time, but now it looks different. So that's just some examples there. We're going to move on from the Redwood experience and get in and talk about SuiteBilling. Now, SuiteBilling is becoming more popular. I've seen that over the last year, and I wanted to bring this up because when I was reading through the release notes, they had some interesting updates. By the way, SuiteBilling, if you're not already aware, it's contract-based billing. So the example that I would give here is everybody could relate to is that I have an internet service either at our company, which we subscribe to, or at your home, right, for personal use. With with the internet service, there's the service for getting you internet access, and then usually there's a hardware component to that. So let's just say that you're selling internet services with a hardware component, which is your router. Well, subscription billing or SuiteBilling allows or would allow, say, I pay that monthly or quarterly or maybe annually, depending on how you're set up with your own company. But in SuiteBilling, you have the ability to create sales orders with that subscription component as well as that tangible item component. And in this first bullet point, what I want to bring up is, so I'm explaining what SuiteBilling is, but also I'm going to explain what CPQ is. That is an item configurator tool. So if you've ever gone online, and I'm going to give you an example, which is common, is like you want to buy a bicycle, and there's a configurator that allows you to pick a frame for that bicycle, colors for the frame, wheels, brakes, tires, seat. That is an item configurator where you literally see those components on the screen and you're selecting those to build out your complete bike assembly. That's CPQ in NetSuite. NetSuite has that offering. What they're saying here is that SuiteBilling allows you to use CPQ and SuiteBilling together. So that's that first bullet point. Let's go to the second bullet point, which is adding the annual recurring revenue to the monthly recurring revenue functionality. So you'll see that this is more enhanced regarding SuiteBilling, where in Suite Analytics, the workbook, if you use Suite Analytics for reporting, and other reporting areas in NetSuite, you'll see that they've enhanced those areas for ARR and MRR. And then also the third bullet point is the dashboards. We talked about portlets earlier, and I wanted to touch base on it because we're talking about it now again, so you have some reference on to or as to what a portlet is. So the dashboards and the portlets for SuiteBilling, MRR, and ARR are those metrics are now available and just provide greater capability of use with the SuiteBilling updates. All right, we're going to move to AI Roundup. Now, AI, I think, 2 years ago, NetSuite started talking about it more concretely at SuiteWorld, and then we've seen it evolve from there. Let's talk a little bit about it. Suite Answers now incorporates some artificial intelligence powered in the search engine. And we'll talk a little bit about that more here in a second. And then also NetSuite Prompt Studio. I want to show that in NetSuite so that you understand where I'm coming from. A lot of people ask about and want to know about, hey, what is AI going to be doing in our system? And it's evolving. So let's talk about it. On my screen, I'm going to switch companies. And I want to show you what a prompt is so that you get a general idea of what the AI is doing. So if we hit this time tracking page, this prompt right here is AI in the system. And when I hover over it, and I'm going to click on it, it's not an accident. I just want you to see what happens. NetSuite is telling me, because this prompt is programmed to use what I type in here as words, a sentence, to run against, to clean it up. Well, I don't have any content in there, so I get an error. But if I say, please clean this up, and maybe I'm making a note, whatever, for my time entry, then I come over here and I select this. This is a prompt in the system that is utilizing AI. And behind the scenes, this wouldn't be me. This would be somebody on our technical team creating this prompt called cleanup to clean up what I wrote. Now, it's probably so simple, there's really not much for it to do, but it does return after I select that prompt. It cleans it up for me. And so if you've used like Chat GPT or any type of AI on the internet, and if you write something in there, you can say, like, in your next comment to AI, you could say something like, I don't like that, please make it cleaner, or please give me more details, and it does that for you. Well, if I want to make a prompt that does something like give me more details, that's a prompt that you could make in NetSuite to do that for this memo field. And in this example, it's called cleanup. So that's what NetSuite is doing, is continuing to evolve. But in this next version, the 2025.1, they're refining the quality AI generates, so allows you and lets admins to build out those prompts. Let's go ahead and continue. What I want to talk about here is where it is. You might have seen this. There was some text enhancements, and there's a page for setting that up. And this first bullet point, sub bullet point, is that page was removed. And we've got the text enhancements, the prompt studio, and SuiteScript, which is the custom language in NetSuite that you can use to program it. There is in your system the AI preferences, they're all now under setup company AI preferences. Let me point out, if you're following along in your NetSuite as I'm talking and you're navigating to that right now, I've been in a couple systems where you get an error message on that, and I've been in some systems where that's actually working fine. So if you are getting an error, reach out to me or somebody here at Protelo. We can help you with that. Or if you have an admin that you can refer to. NetSuite's attempting to answer your question without needing to sift through individual help pages. So you'll see that as you continue, as they continue to enhance AI, you'll see it in NetSuite and in Suite Answers. I'm going to continue to move through here to manufacturing. I want to point out the manufacturing process, because again, in reviewing the release notes and where we've seen our clients navigate over the years, manufacturing is a big part of our clients' business. So I wanted to touch on this for Supply 360 on the manufacturing side. To me, and if you're using it or if you haven't yet, the manufacturing process in NetSuite, that continues to evolve. And I think with the supply planning workbench, which I think, in my opinion, is pretty unique, it really helps you navigate the system from a manufacturing perspective. But what they're now doing is allowing you to filter the workbench results to items that are assigned to that specific specific preferred suppliers, excuse me. That's the first bullet point. And then planned order search. So you can now include in your criteria for the order item record. And then also I want to let you know that there is an available to build Suite app, and that is the screenshot on the right-hand side. So I'm not going to get too technical into this. I will talk about Suite apps here a little bit later. But I wanted to just bring up to you that here's the context, right? We have some clients that are just starting manufacturing processes. They've been either working in the system for a while and they've evolved in their company and their processes. And so this, if you're listening and that might fit your scenario, there's a lot that you can leverage out of NetSuite in the manufacturing area. So these are some enhancements for 2025.1, again, for the Supply 360 piece and then the available to build suite app, excuse me. Again, on the manufacturing side, the GS1 barcodes is a big deal. There really hasn't been functionality to participate in that realm in terms of your manufacturing printing, label printing. So now, you can print GS1 barcodes on the item labels for produced assembly items. And so if you don't, you would need to make sure that you have the item label printing enabled. So we'll continue. You may work with CSV importing changes in your system. So NetSuite, real quick brief, if you aren't or you don't already know, NetSuite allows you to do a lot of things through CSV importing. So if you have like an Excel spreadsheet and you want to update all of your item records, certain fields, you can just make a spreadsheet of that information, save it as a CSV, and upload. And it mass updates all of that information regarding, in my example, the item record. Well, now they're including the item fulfillment and the item receipt record that you can use for the CSV import. I want to point that out because I think a lot of people use CSV imports to do many things in NetSuite. Here's just an addition to those processes. Now we're going to switch over and talk a little bit about taxes and payroll. So in these boxes, 1, 2, and 3, first one is this is for SuiteBilling payroll. You do now have the opportunity to self-download your W-2 and W-2C. In box 2, it's representing that you need to do that using your employee center role. So myself as an individual belonging to a company using NetSuite who has SuiteBilling US payroll, my administrator would give me the employee center role, which is an abbreviated role. It doesn't have a lot of functionality, and you don't have access to, nearly anything in NetSuite except some pieces just regarding me personally, like these W-2 and W-2C forms. So you need to be using that employee center role to gain access to it, and you can download that PDF information. You can password protect it or choose not to. So they give you that option, and I think that's a very nice option. If you've been around ERP for a while, it hasn't always been easy to get something out of your system for an employee that is sensitive data and have it password protected. NetSuite's doing that for you. And I think that's a big deal for people because they want to make sure that sensitive information, whoever it applies to, only applies to them, so you can password protect it. Now, number 3 is as an administrator to the system or as an administrator to the payroll services in NetSuite, if needed, the administrator can log in and download those for an employee. So there is a little bit of autonomy in case the employee is unable to do it themselves for whatever reason, personal reasons, procedural reasons within your company. NetSuite's just giving you the ability to either have the employee do it or have someone do it for the employee. Let's talk about, and I had mentioned earlier, the suite apps and localizations. So if you look at the release notes for the 2025.1, you'll see in there this bulleted list of suite apps that are available. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of technical detail regarding suite apps, and I'll talk about the localizations as well. Let's go over to NetSuite real quick. And up here in my upper right corner, everybody should have, if you're in NetSuite or if you're following it along, if your administrator hasn't removed it, Suite Apps is there by default. That menu takes you to the Suite App page, and there's a plethora of Suite Apps that are available for NetSuite. NetSuite makes them, and third parties to NetSuite make them available for you to download and use. Some you need to pay, or there's a subscription to those, and some they're free and they're available. NetSuite has free ones and has ones that you would need to pay for. Some you could find hugely beneficial. In the manufacturing slide that I was showing you, I'm just going to type in here available. And you notice on the right-hand side, there it is, available to build Suite App. And if we go to this page, it gives me the opportunity to install it. If it is a paid NetSuite Suite App, and you go to install it, it may prompt you that you can't. You would need to talk to either myself, someone at Protelo, or whoever administers your account to make sure that you are that particular Suite app that you're trying to download is provisioned for your account. And that's a simple conversation, right? So once it's provisioned, then you can come in here and click that install button. And again, it's circumstantial. Some are paid, some are free, and some need to be provisioned, and some might not need to be. So what I want to do is just introduce the available Suite apps out there under the Suite app menu. And then I'm going to go back here, and I wanted to point out localizations. So as soon as this is free, I'm going to remove that. And let's type in localization. So you can see here that there are localizations for Uruguay, Ecuador, and these are by NetMint. Some of them are by Protelo. Let's see if I can find, or not by Protelo, excuse me, by NetSuite. They should be in here, like Oracle NetSuite, these two down here, Spain and Singapore. Let me tell you about localizations in this regard. So we have clients that work that have their businesses all over the world in other countries, and some countries somebody will have, if not NetSuite or a third party, developed a localization for their NetSuite instance. For as an example, Singapore, which means that the localization is typically in regards to financials, local taxes, and those localizations help those companies in those specific areas either report out or develop reporting that can be reported out of NetSuite for that localization government regulations that they have. So that's what those localizations are there for. And so when you are reading through release notes, when we're talking about localizations, it's to help NetSuite in regards to operating in other countries. All right, let's go back to the slide. Actually, it's my time's up on this, and I want to introduce my colleague CJ Lemerise. He's going to take over. I'm going to stop my screen share and let CJ go ahead and continue on this. So thank you, everybody, and I'll talk towards the end. CJ, thank you.
Thanks, Travis. Okay, so let's talk Customer 360. Customer 360 in 2025.1 did get some enhancements. If you navigate over there, you'll see a few changes to it, which we'll get into. The changes to the recent transactions tab have occurred. There's been an updated section that is now the recommended products, which displays product recommendations for a customer. The sales performance has been enhanced and broken out into distinct tabs that display relevant information, as well as some additional tabs such as opportunities and estimates and orders and returns that also have key metrics for the different types of transactions that are occurring in your system for that customer. So I went backwards. To take a look at what that'll look like. This might look familiar to you if you have used Customer 360 before. If not, then this might serve as a good introduction. In order to get here, you can navigate to any customer record, and in the upper right-hand corner of that record, you will see the View Customer 360 link. So that's how you would get to this dashboard. So the Customer 360 dashboard is broken out into these different areas that really present a unified view of what's taking place with your customer in your system. So as I mentioned before, the recent activity tab, it has been renamed from recent transactions, which in the previous version of 360 would have just covered things like invoices, sales orders, and estimates. Now it has additional activities. So you can see here that there are payments, right? There are estimates, there are item fulfillments. Other transactions can include things like checks, credit card, refunds, work orders, if you're issuing work orders, and cash refunds. The sales performance section that I had mentioned previously, this used to be these two areas were just individual boxes with those sales figures on them. They've now been broken out into charts. So you can see Year to date for a customer, what their sales look like. You're able to see the previous year and the current year, as indicated by the lines here. You're also able to see the customer lifetime value, and I will jump ahead in this slide here. And you can see that this customer lifetime value tab shows your customer value across the entirety of the customer lifespan in your system. You can navigate over a specific data point and see the year and the actual value that corresponds to that year. If we go back, we can see the product recommendations. So this is generated by the system to show different products that are relevant to your customer. These are frequently ordered products and recent products that have been on transactions in your system. So you can see here there are a list of these different items with their corresponding item numbers and prices. And any of these items can be clicked on with the checkboxes here. And then from this Actions tab, you're actually able to add them to a sales order, to an invoice, or to an estimate straight from this screen. So really just a nice way to add some more functionality all in one place for you when it comes to customers. Top selling items at the bottom. This displays the top items for your customer by revenue. So you can see that the highest revenue here is what dictates these top selling items. And worth mentioning here on this page, anything that has a view report link on it, which includes this chart, the customer lifetime value chart, and the top selling items, can be clicked on, and you can actually see the Suite Analytics workbook that drives that. So it'll give you a more granular view into what's behind those reports and really give you more insight into what's taking place. If we continue on, we look at the Opportunities and Estimates tab. So this has been added, and this is a great way to gain visibility into the open opportunities and estimates for a customer. So you can see the projected total. You can see a weighted total for a customer for estimates. You're able to see the percentage of opportunities won. You're able to see the percentage of estimates converted and the actual number. And then you're able to see all of these types of transactions that are out there in the system for your customer. So you have just at your fingertips a list of all of these estimates. You can sort them by clicking on any one of the headers on this list here. And you're able to get, at a glance information of what the status is on a transaction or when the expected close date is. Moving along to orders and returns, same thing. You're able to see how many orders a customer has, if there are any returns in the taking place this year, if there's anything in progress, what the order value is. And again, you have this list of these transactions available to you that you can review and you can sort as you need to. Finally, receivables. So again, same sort of layout, this covering open invoices, overdue invoices. If there are any credit memos available for this customer, you can see that. If you have a credit limit for a customer, you can see that's what that would be and how much of it has been used. If the customer has payment terms in a primary currency, you're able to see that. And then you're able to see all the invoices, payments, and credit memos that are out there for a customer. So again, all of this has been added into Customer 360. There was one removal that will take place for this update, and that will be the Customer Profitability tab will be removed after the 2025.1 update. And on the note of ending support, we do have a couple of other things to cover. The outbound single sign-on. This was ended in non-production accounts, such as sandbox accounts in the 2024.1 update. And with this new update, it's going to apply to the production accounts as well. So if you want to keep your integrations working, you'll need to replace them with NetSuite as OIDC provider feature. It's a more secure, more reliable authentication method. And there's actually a help topic surrounding that. If you were to search out NetSuite as OIDC provider under help, you can get more information there. And you can, of course, reach out to Travis, myself, or your project manager. And we're happy to take a look at that in more depth with you and get an idea of what the next steps need to be. Also, the netsuite.com data source. This is remaining. However, support requests for bug fixes and enhancements are not going to be considered. So any tickets filed for that will not be received. CRM. So now whenever access is granted to the external case response page, if there's any activity on a case, an email will be sent with a time-sensitive link. This link will be sent to the user that this case corresponds to, and this link will provide them access. The default period that the link provides access for is 2 weeks. However, you can modify that as far as up to 8 weeks. So anywhere between 2 and 8 weeks, you have that window if you do want to adjust that. And you can change that in the external link validity preference under support preferences. If a user gets an email and they don't open it before the expiration, when they do click on that expired link, they'll be automatically prompted by the system to generate a new time-sensitive link. Performance metrics. So any performance metrics reports for support cases are now displayed in the date and time format in the user's account. So any user viewing it will see it in their time zone instead of seeing it in the time zone of wherever it was created. A note on that, if you have any sort of custom reports that pertain to performance metrics, they will not be updated automatically. So you will either need to modify them and save them or to create a new report entirely. And that covers it for my section of 2025.1.
Yeah, thanks, CJ. So we are at another poll. If you wouldn't mind, before you leave, and as we get into Q&A, we're going to and Kara, thank you for starting that webinar poll. We just one more. It's not the same one as was in the beginning, but thank you again for everybody for participating. If there are any questions, it's a good opportunity now to submit those. We'll do our best to answer those here as we're wrapping this up. Now, we did make this webinar a little bit longer, probably due to me just continuously talking and extended the time from the previous ones. But the reality is we are at the end on this one. And if there are any questions, we'll fill the time with those. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and have this poll. And then CJ, if you wouldn't mind advancing to the Q&A section, we'll leave that poll open here for a few minutes. And I just wanted to tell everybody, thank you very much for joining. I know it's a lot of information and we try and keep it high level. If you have any questions technically or at a high level, if you just need help with something that we may not have mentioned in this webinar, please reach out to me. My information here is on this last slide deck. And let me just take a second to see if there are any questions out there as we're getting towards the end.
Yeah, we've got a question about how to navigate to the customer 360 page. If you could show that in an account.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yep, CJ is going to show that. He's still sharing his screen if everybody's still watching there. Great question.
Okay, I am jumping over to our release preview. And so if I look at navigating to lists, relationships, and customers, I want to look at I'm navigating to look at a customer record. So I'm going to look at our Tesco here. And then once this customer record loads, I'll be able to, and I'll show this here.
Hey, CJ, real quick, while we're waiting for that to load, can you hover over the view on any of those? I was wondering, sometimes NetSuite will put in, and then that icon to the right of it, did they include that customer 360 here? Or is that just the dashboard?
Customer dashboard, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Which is different.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up though. Yeah, good differentiation there. So right here, view customer 360. So you'll see that regardless of whether you're in Redwood or you're in the classic view, so to speak, it will remain there all the same. And it'll be located in the same position on the customer record.
We have a question. What areas should be verified that can still operate with the new release preview? So kind of a release readiness for those who have highly customized instances.
Okay, what area? Is that what you said, Kara?
What are the areas they should check?
Yeah. Yeah, so in release preview, those areas, especially when you're heavily customized, any of those customizations that you have procedurally that you walk through, say, for instance, if you navigate to the customer to a customer record and a workflow, or some customization causes a pop-up window. Test those things out. Any area that is customized, you would want to walk through that customization, through it procedurally in release preview. And if anything seems that it is interrupted or not working, possibly taking a very long time to load, those are some indications that it might be impacted by this next release. So reach out to us right away and we can help you identify those. Now, if you are not quite sure, reach out to us. We can take a look in the system. If you're not already a client, well, if you are, we already know, because we keep a library on all those customizations. We can help you walk through those and verify them.
Great. Yeah. And I did want to add, sometimes NetSuite comes out with native functionality that you may be using a third-party application that you're, paying and it's working outside the system for. So those are really good things to read in the release notes to see if you can bring anything into the native system as well.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Kara.
Not seeing any other questions. So thank you, Travis, CJ.
Yeah. Thank you. And just on this last slide, if you would like to reach out to me, you can scan this in or just take down my email address and phone number. Please do. I'd love to hear from you and we'll help you out, get you routed to the right person on our team if it's not me. And again, we serve both the functional and the technical side. So whether you're just navigating and working directly in the native functionality in NetSuite, getting that set up, configured, and using, or if you have a need for customizations, or you are customized and need some help in those areas, those are just a quick blurb on areas that we can help. So thanks everybody for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the polls, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.